Oh, welcome back, everybody, to the Raider roster report. This is Raider Sparks coming at you with another episode today. I think we'll talk about some prospects. I think the Raiders may be or should be interested in, as well as kind of go over what's been happening with as far as visits and stuff. And today we'll kind of focus specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I'll do another video on the offensive side of the ball too. But please, yeah, share your thoughts and comments. Let me know some prospects that you want the Raiders to maybe take a look at, especially in the later rounds, since we don't have any the top couple round picks. So kind of focus on that area. But definitely, please like, subscribe. The channel's growing. We're up to almost 320 subscribers now. Yeah, things are looking great, and I'm loving the comments that are coming in. So please keep them coming in. Today is obviously the first day of the off-season workouts as well. So it'd be kind of cool to find out who reports and not reports and things like that. So yeah, let's kind of get into sort of what the Raiders have done so far as visits, and it's been extremely heavy on cornerback specifically. And the one thing I wanted to note is I put this to, started working on this video, and since then a couple names have popped up as potential Raider visits. And again, the visits tracker is kind of tough. It's kind of there's kind of different variations of it on different websites and stuff. So I just kind of piece it together as best I could. But it was interesting putting this together, and all of a sudden, a couple of the names that I'd put down actually had shown up as potential visits. So I thought that was kind of cool to see. But I mean, for my count right now, there's been 7 cornerbacks that have had visits or scheduled visits. Kalen Barnes, Cordell Float, Mario Goodrich, Tariq Woolen, Marcus Jones, who I think they're doing as a safety, but that's another topic. Cortez Davis, and today I just saw Isaac Taylor Stewart from USC had a planned visit as well. So definitely going heavy on cornerback. Um, and really kind of focus on that area. 3 defensive linemen. We've talked about Aziz, defensive end, Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle, and Jordan Peavy, a nose tackle. And I also kind of want to look at see as far as like I started using Walt's draft. I don't know if anybody started using that or Walter's draft, his mock draft. And so like Mario Goodrich he has him projected in the third round at 102, and I use his draft because it seems like it's the most accurate. And then Tariq Woolen at round 368, so a little off from where we're picking. And that type of thing. Like Devontae Wyatt, round one, pick 31 overall. So obviously we don't have that pick. Then he obviously there's some offensive players that fit sort of into where we're picking at. Burks didn't have a meeting, but they just met with him at the combine. But Justin Ross, round three, 87, which is kind of right where we pick. Jermaine Sellier, offensive lineman, round three, 89. And then Isaiah Likely, round four, 122 overall, kind of where we're picking as well. So that kind of matches. But a lot of the cornerbacks aren't even shown in the top 5 rounds. So we're looking at round 6, round 7, some real late round type picks, that type of thing. So I wanted to, when I look at prospects, I kind of want to go back to the past and see how some traits might work with some past players that have been good in sort of the system. So I picked out two cornerbacks that I think would match, and I kind of looked at this. So Damari Mathis out of Pittsburgh, he's right now on Waltz is round 4, 39 overall. And the reason why I picked him is because I kind of looked at I look at J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore in their pro days and kind of match them up. And so I used Damari Mathis and Faion Hicks with Wisconsin, and we'll kind of get into both of them. So I mean, they kind of have a profile, kind of have a type. If you look at the people we sign, they're all in that 5'10" to 6 foot range, and J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore are no different. So J.C. Jackson is 5'10". The combine was 193. His pro day was 201, so kind of in that range. 75-inch wingspan. A 4.46 40, which isn't the important stat. The 10 split is the important stat. He ran a 1.54 10 split, 14 reps, 35 and a half foot, 10-foot broad jump. Just incredible stats. And Stephon Gilmore, 6'1.5", 190, 4.38, 147 10 split. And the reason I did Damari Mathis, he's 5'11", 196, so he's right in that same range. 4.39 40, which is basically like Stephon Gilmore. And he had a 20 of 4.18, which is J.C. Jackson at a 4.28 and Stephon Gilmore a 3.94. So he's pretty much right in that same range. Damari Mathis, though, had a 43.5 vert and an 11.1 broad jump. And Stephon Gilmore, a 36 vert and a 10-foot 3-inch broad jump. So extremely explosive athlete. He has those traits. He has a quick area. I didn't get his 10 split or his 3-cone. I don't know if he did those drills. But also, if you look at Damari Mathis' stats, um, 32 solo tackles, 2 interceptions, and 5 pass breakups. And last year of college for J.C. Jackson, 33 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, and 7 pass breakups. So kind of right there. Stephon Gilmore, 35 solo and 4 interceptions. I don't think they had the pass breakup mark, but nonetheless, some things with Damari Mathis. He had a 50% reception rate against him in a very heavy man-to-man press man alignment with Pitt. So he's very, very familiar with doing press man. He's very good at it. At the Senior Bowl, no different. And his first day of practice in the one-on-one drills, he was voted the best man-to-man cornerback. So nothing new there. He worked on the inside and the outside, which you have to be able to do in our system. And so he profiles right into our system. He had 31 and 7/8 arms. J.C. Jackson, 31.5-inch arms. Stephon Gilmore, 31-inch arms. So, I mean, the length is basically right with those guys as well. And so I think he profiles really well. And if you watch his tape, he has a lot of tape where there's no safety help at all over the top for him. Obviously, in our system, we press safety help, but he has the ability to just be on an island and make it happen. And he showed it against the best receivers at the Senior Bowl. He was the best at doing it. So I think it's somebody to take a look at. Now, they do have projected Walt does it round 4, 39th in round 4. So just something to kind of I'm sorry, 139 overall. I think is what I wrote down. I'm sorry if I got that a little bit backwards, but nonetheless, sort of kind of. I guess so. Yeah, would be 139. So that's kind of where he's at. It's a tremendous athlete. And then the next guy I wanted to profile here, and he doesn't have him in the top 5 rounds, Walt. Anyways, so I'm not sure where Fayon Hicks might go, but I think it's interesting. He's 5'1", 5'10", 190. So maybe a slightly touch shorter than actually J.C. Jackson was 5'10" as well, so kind of right in that same range. But the speed, I mean, 4.3740, which is slightly better than Stephon Gilmore, or 1.4810, which is right there with Stephon Gilmore. 13 reps, so he's strong. 37.5 vert. Stephon Gilmore 36. The 20 split 3.94, exactly as Stephon Gilmore. 3-cone 6.78. Stephon Gilmore was 6.61, was really good. But his pro day, Fayon Hicks, 3.92 for the 20, which is better than Stephon Gilmore, and a 6.62 3-cone, which is right there with Stephon Gilmore. So, I mean, he's got the physical makeup. I think he had a 53% completion rate against them, 21 solo tackles, and 8 pass breakups. So he's right around the ball all the time. No interceptions, but I'm not sure how much he actually got targeted, to be honest with you. He's a really good press man corner. Um, and his pro day, he had a 39.5 vert and a 10-foot 6-inch broad jump. So right there, athletically, with Stephon Gilmore, and a little bit better than J.C. Jackson. And the J.C. Jackson has 7 pass breakups. He had 8 pass breakups. So he's a very gifted player, and I think he would fit the system really well as well, because he can definitely do the press man, and he can play out there on an island if you want him to. So I thought that was pretty cool. The other guy I wanted to take a look at, and I just noticed on NFL Rumors that Jeremiah Moon has a scheduled visit with the Raiders, and the reason why he jumped out to me is super athletic, but he kind of compares a little bit, I think, to Devontae Hightower in the way he can play in the NFL. It's a little hard to judge him because he had a ton of injuries, 6 years at Florida, uh, often out injured, but his physical traits are unbelievable, and he's playing a mainly edge for Florida, and they finally moved him to inside linebacker and just shoots gaps, and that's pretty much Devontae Hightower's role when he was with, when he was there in that New England system. His job was just to shoot pretty much the A gap or go on the edge, and that's basically what Jeremiah Moon can do. So if we look at it, Devontae Hightower, 6'2 and a half, 265. Like I always said, Patrick Graham likes heavier linebackers, and so that's why I think. And I want to send a shout out now to Raiders Films, on YouTube. He did a great job on Divine Diablo and breaking down him moving to strong safety and Abrams' position. And I've said this a few times on the show as well. That's I think what should happen with the Raiders because in our system, Patrick Graham's look at all the linebackers brought in. They're all basically 245 to 250 pounds. Kaiser Fackrell and Javon Brown, they're all basically the same weight. Perryman's like 240, I think, is what the Raiders have him listed at on their website. So obviously, Divine Diablo is at 225 range. Well, that's more a strong safety build for Patrick Graham. So look for that move to happen. And Raider Film did a great breakdown of him being able to convert back to a safety position and play that role in our defense. And it makes a lot of sense. So that's the reason I think we might draft a linebacker and somebody specifically like a Devontae Hightower. And Jeremiah Moon, to me, fits that profile. So Devontae Hightower, 6'2 and a half, 265, 32, and then basically 3/4 inch arms. He ran a 4'6", 240, a 158, 10 split, 33 vert, and 9'7" on the broad jump. 20, 464, and a 3 cone 7, 5'5". So very, very good. He had 40 solo tackles his senior year, 11 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 1 interception, 3 pass breakups. And really, that's his thing, in the system for New England is basically shoot the A gap, stop the run, penetrate from the middle, or play on the edge. I mean, those are the two things he basically did, and he does them very, very well. With Jeremiah Moon, 6'5", 249. So he's got the size. He kind of has a build, just not the weight of Darius Leonard. Really, he's kind of has that frame. Obviously, he's heavier, but 35-inch arms, so very good length. It shows on film his length. You can see in the picture, very good length. 4'7", 40. But I think he got that down on his pro day. I got to go double check his pro day time, but his 20 was 4.55, so much better than Devontae Hightower. And his 3 cone was 7.09, so very good lateral movement. Some of the things that were written up about him was he just had good lateral movement. I watched the film; it's better than you think, and his stats show it. 83 and 5/8 wingspan. So he's, like I said, his length shows up, but his explosion is 40.5 vert and 11-foot 1-inch broad jump. Just an explosive athlete. His problem has been injuries over the years. So Walt actually has him in the third round at 92. I've seen other draft sites that have him in the seventh round. PFF, you can get him in the seventh round almost every time. So who knows where he's going to go? The Raiders obviously are intrigued by him, and I think that's why, because I think his comp is the Devontae Hightower, and I think what he could do is what I've explained. So, anyways, he was invited to the Senior Bowl, but again, injury, he did not participate, which is kind of a bummer. So that's a little bit about him, and it's kind of cool to see that the Raiders are actually going to be, or plan on, or the rumor is, have a meeting with him. So next, I wanted to look at the defensive tackle position. There's two guys I've highlighted. I've highlighted them here on the show before. Is Derek Tangelo and Eric Johnson. So let's go. Let's go to why I did that. And it's obviously the guy that stands out in the Patrick Graham system is Leonard Williams, 6 foot 3.25, 302 at his combine, 34 3/4 basically arms, over 10-inch hands, and over 82 wing span. But impressively at that size, he ran a 40 at 4.97, a 10 split at 1.73, had a 29.5-inch vert, and a 7.59 3 cone. His senior season or his last season in college, 48 solo tackles, 80 total, 9.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 3 pass breakups. So a phenomenal college player, right? Very good stats. Uh, Derek Tangelo, I noticed him in the Shrine game. Really, he played next to Matthew Butler out of Tennessee. And Walt doesn't have either the next two guys I talk about in the top 5 rounds. But Derek Tangelo is 6'2", so a little shorter, 296, but he played at like 304, so kind of in that same weight range as Leonard Williams. 33.5-inch arms, so pretty good. 9-inch hands, so a little smaller, but 81 1/8 wingspan, so very long. But his 40 time was 4.89, so man, that size ran at 4.89 is very good. 20 4.87. This is good. His vert though is 31, so better than Leonard Williams. He had a 9 foot 5-inch broad jump, so very athletic. 21 reps, so strong. Somebody with an 81-inch wingspan at 21 reps is pretty good. Just didn't have the college production. 14 solo tackles, 29 total, 2 sacks. one pass breakup. So not a ton of stats in college, but has the physical ability. So you're looking at a UDFA guy possibly here, or maybe a seventh rounder. Just take a flyer on him. But looking at Leonard Williams' size and speed, that 4.97 40 time and the 4.89 for Derek D'Angelo with the wingspan that he has, could be a very good three technique player. Kind of has that makeup for that with some coaching. And I thought he performed very well at the Shrine game. He was getting pressure all the time during the Shrine game. And so I think that's something the Raiders may look at. It'll be interesting to see if he gets a meeting. And another guy that's getting a lot of buzz is Eric Johnson. I noticed he's had some meetings lined up. I think even the Chargers met with him. But there's several teams. The Bears are one of the teams that are really heavily looking at him. And I've talked on the show often about him because he's from Missouri State, NFL PA Bowl, and then got the Senior Bowl invite and did very well at the Senior Bowl. But listen to this: Eric Johnson 6'4.5", Leonard Williams 6'4 3/4. Eric Johnson 299, Leonard Williams 302. Arm length 34 3/4, basically the same as Leonard Williams. 10-inch hand, slightly over, basically the same as Leonard Williams. And he does have that long over 80 wingspan. He has like an 82, 84-inch wingspan. I forget. I didn't write it down, but it's very good. It's very comparable to Leonard Williams. The 40 time, 4.84 for Eric Johnson. He's the third fastest defensive tackle behind Devontae Wyatt, first rounder, and obviously Davis. Both Georgia guys, both first round guys. And so Eric Johnson 4.84 though, and his 10 was 1.70, which was both are better than Leonard Williams. And um, so yeah, very very good. Just didn't have quite the numbers. He had 27 tackles, but 6 tackles for loss. So Leonard Williams 9.5 tackles for loss. So not a bad showing. Just didn't quite have the stats, but once he got the pro coaching, he started kicking ass. He did very good at the NFL PR and the Senior Bowl. He was a very good three technique player. He can actually play defensive end in the system as well. He can actually play up another line, which is really what they're looking for. So I hope the Raiders bring him in for a visit, but just another guy to kind of keep an eye on. And the last guy we'll take a look at who did reportedly get a visit with the Raiders or has one scheduled is Jalen Peavy out of Texas A&M. And again, the reason why he stood out to me was I looked at Devlin Tomlinson, obviously nose tackle for the Giants. He actually obviously did very good. He got a huge contract. He's 6'3", 310, 33.5-inch arms, 10-inch hands, over 82 wingspan, 5'19", 40, 1.81 10 split, 27 vert, 4.39 short shuttle, and 7.68 3 cone. Davlin Tomlinson, 17 solo tackles, 45 assists, 62 tackles in his final year, 5.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. So it's very good. But let's take a look at Jalen Peavy. 6'5", so a little taller, 308, about the same weight, 35.5-inch arms, so he's got more length, 10.5-inch hands, uh, over 85 wingspan, so he's got more length as well. So weight's about the same. The height, the weight is really good. 40, the straight line speed wasn't as good as Davlin. It's 5.30, so a little slower. But his 10 split was 1.79, which was better than Davlin Thomas. So really what you want in your offensive lineman. That 10 split's key because it's getting off the ball, that type of thing. 27 verts is exactly the same. So, I mean, the player profile is very much very similar. 43 total tackles, 17 solo, 23 assisted, 7 tackles for loss, so more than Devlin Tomlinson, 2 sacks, basically the same, 1 interception, and 3 pass breakups. So he's very athletic around the line, and just a very good, can be a very good nose tackle for us. He's very disrupted. He's very good at 2 gaps, obviously controlling the A gap. He's a controlled player, which is what you need to play that nose tackle position. And I think I'm obviously glad the Raiders brought him in. I had him down. I've been working on this for a few days, trying to pick out these guys, and then obviously I noticed Jeremiah Moon and Jalen Peavy have had scheduled visits, and I just noticed that today. So I thought that was interesting. But really looking forward to seeing if Derek Tangelo, Eric Johnson, or Damari Mathis or Faion Hicks also get visits. I did see a report a while ago on Faion Hicks. It was a brief article I read that it kind of linked him maybe to the Raiders. That's kind of what led me to him. But he profiles very well, like Gilmore and Jackson. Damari Mathis obviously stood out in the Senior Bowl. So some players to keep an eye on. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. Keep this thing growing. I want to know your thoughts on some defensive players that could potentially the Raiders should maybe be targeting in the later rounds. Love to hear your comments about it. And until next time, this is Raider Sparks. Have a great day.